All right, let's start with Thomas Carlyle, the man who arguably introduced the phrase meaning of life in English literature. Back in 1833, in his book Sartor Resartus, he philosophized that life's meaning is intertwined with necessity and freedom, an ever-present battle, if you will, shaping the very fabric of human existence.
An ever-present battle? That's certainly dramatic. I mean, how did people take this idea at the time? Were they like, oh, yes, finally someone said it?
Funny you say that, because Carlyle's words resonated rather profoundly with some and baffled others. But soon after, we have someone like Arthur Schopenhauer, who took the question of life's meaning even further. He flat out asked, what is the purpose of it all? And he wasn't exactly a sunny optimist in his answers.
Oh, here comes the existential gloom, doesn't it?
Indeed, Schopenhauer viewed life as a kind of relentless struggle, pushing forward this idea that existence itself reflects a blind, often painful will. His philosophies pivoted the conversation toward the futility we sometimes feel in our everyday quests.
Wow, imagine dropping that at a dinner party. Hey everyone, life is a relentless struggle. But honestly, isn't that kind of relevant today? With all the chaos of the modern world, his work might strike a chord with people feeling stuck or searching for fulfillment.
Spot on. That's the brilliance of these early thinkers. They tap into universal themes. Now let's move to a more constructive shift in philosophical thought, Platonism and Aristotelianism. Plato, for one, urged us to seek the good, some ultimate principle driving everything. Imagine it as the anchor for all that's meaningful.
Like uncovering the perfect goal, right?
Exactly. His student Aristotle took a slightly more grounded approach, eudaimonia, or human flourishing. He believed living well meant immersing yourself in virtuous habits, not distant ideals, but values you can practice every day.
Let me guess. It's like that old self-help mantra, work hard to be your best self.
Haha, well, in a way, yes. Aristotle's argument seems timeless, doesn't it? It's about purpose built through action, not handed to us, not static. And then much later, we get existentialism. Think Sartre or Camus. They argue meaning doesn't exist out there waiting, we create it ourselves.
Ah, the DIY meaning of life. So it's like, no shortcuts, folks. Roll up your sleeves.
Precisely. What Schopenhauer described as a problem, existentialists reframed as an opportunity. Yes, there's no predefined purpose, but instead you have freedom, scary yet empowering, to chart your own course.
It's interesting. All these views, from the ideal good to personal struggle, seem to mirror, well, the exact questions we're all asking today. They've aged remarkably well.
And age well they certainly have. It's the resilience of these ideas that keeps them relevant. But for some, philosophy isn't quite enough. Religion, for instance, offers structured, often divine answers to the meaning of life.
Speaking of the resilience of human ideas, religion has long offered a structured lens for answering life's big existential questions. Take Judaism, for instance. Rooted in ancient traditions, it frames life's purpose through moral action and the concept of tikkun olam, essentially, repairing the world. It centers on doing good here and now with the broader aim of creating a just and harmonious society.
It's fascinating, isn't it? That sense of collective responsibility is not just about you as an individual, but about the whole world.
Exactly. And then you have Christianity. At its core, it's about seeking salvation and living in accordance with God's will. The teachings of Jesus Christ emphasize love, compassion, and forgiveness. It's a guide for individuals to see their lives as meaningful within a divine plan.
So it's like finding meaning through connection, not just with others, but with something way bigger than yourself.
Perfectly put. Islam too offers a comprehensive framework, with its 5 pillars guiding daily life. Acts like charity, prayer, and fasting aren't seen as chores, but pathways to a deep relationship with Allah. It ties the sense of purpose to obedience and gratitude.
And that's why rituals are such a big deal, right? They're like these powerful reminders of that purpose every single day.
Spot on again. Religious frameworks give individuals a sense of order, a moral compass, and often a sense of community. But here's the fascinating thing. Science has now started to weigh in on these same themes. Studies show that having a sense of purpose doesn't just enrich your life mentally, it genuinely impacts your physical health too.
Wait, hold on. Science actually connects meaning to health.
Oh, absolutely. Researchers in fields like positive psychology have found that purpose-driven lives lead to better health outcomes, lower rates of depression, even reduced risks of heart disease and Alzheimer's. It seems our minds and bodies thrive when we have something to aim towards.
That's incredible. So when people say things like, just find your why, there's actual science backing it up.
Indeed. Take a recent study on mental well-being. It showed that individuals with strong goals or community ties bounce back from setbacks more easily. It's all about resilience. Even in the darkest times, having a purpose acts almost like an emotional anchor.
So it's not just about surviving, it's about surviving with direction, with meaning. Honestly, I think it's reassuring, knowing both faith and science point us toward the same truth. We need purpose to truly live.
Absolutely. The dialogue between these age-old religious teachings and modern scientific insights builds a fascinating bridge. Each shines a light on a different aspect of what makes life meaningful, reminding us we're not just asking these questions, we're actively living their answers.
It's fascinating how both religion and science highlight the importance of having a purpose, a grounding point to navigate life's questions. But let's face it, sometimes diving into those existential depths can feel overwhelming. That's where humour steps in. Think about something like Monty Python's The Meaning of Life. It's a playful way to explore life's biggest questions without getting lost in the heaviness.
Exactly. Monty Python takes this philosophically massive question, pokes fun at it, and somehow makes you laugh, but also think. It's genius. But do you think it trivialises the topic or makes it more approachable?
A fair question. I'd say humour does a bit of both. Take the iconic scene where Michael Palin reads out the meaning of life. His deadpan delivery. Be nice to people, read books, avoid fat. Sounds so ordinary, yet it slyly underscores our craving for something profound. It's like humour holds up a mirror and says, see? Life's big questions can be puzzling and amusing.
I love that. It takes the edge off, doesn't it? And when you laugh, you're almost like giving yourself permission to ponder these questions without fear. Even The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy does this with its absurd idea that the answer to everything is, 42?
Precisely. 42. Douglas Adams turns the grand ultimate answer into an unintelligible joke, right? Deep thought, the supercomputer in the story, spends millions of years to conclude that answer. And here's the kicker. It's meaningless without knowing the question.
Wait, so the computer calculates the answer, but humans forgot their own question? That's perfect. It's such a brilliant satire on how lost we can feel searching for meaning in the vastness of life.
Adams captures our human condition beautifully. We want answers so desperately, but we often miss clarifying what we're asking. Humour like this helps because it connects us all. It says, hey, we're confused together, before reminding us it's okay not to have everything solved.
Right? And don't you think it's also about control? Laughing about life's randomness feels like reclaiming some power, even just emotionally. Instead of dreading the unknown, we joke about it.
Exactly. Humour gives us perspective. Think of it as a coping mechanism. When life feels incomprehensible, humour scales everything down to something manageable. It's that cosmic shrug, if you will.
Love that. Cosmic shrug. So, why do you think pop culture keeps coming back to these big questions? Clearly, it's not just about the laughs.
Oh, absolutely not. Comedy is just the hook. Deep down, these cultural phenomena, whether it's Monty Python or The Hitchhiker's Guide, reflect how universal and timeless our search for meaning is. The humour doesn't invalidate the question, it makes it approachable. It's a sort of modern philosophy, one accessible to anyone with a sense of humour.
And it's not just philosophers or spiritual leaders discussing meaning. It's all of us through these shared laughs. It's uniting, isn't it?
It truly is. Humour creates a space where complicated ideas can coexist with simplicity. It reminds us that perhaps the meaning of life isn't about grand, unreachable truths. It can be as humble and profound as finding joy in the shared absurdity of it all.